probably for the main course, it would be no name duck, and then I'd get roast duck by Power, and I'd put them next to each other, and it would just be this crazy duck feast. And fuck it, while we're at it, get G-Rong too, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So
He's totally flexing on me right now. You know
we've got Marc and Med from Genghis Cohen here today.
What's up, boys?
And La Dolce Vita.
And La Dolce Vita, Dom's
Come on,
favorite
bro.
restaurant within walking distance of here.
It's my favorite restaurant. Let's call it spade.
Although 88 Club has opened, so it adds a little bit of a challenge.
Oh, I love it all.
So Dom recently went to Camp 4 for the first time, but did not go to Camp 4 because Dom will not go to the fucking arts district. He went to Camp 4.
By the way, neither will they.
This isn't about the
I mean,
money, this is about
Mark's
you.
a little more open to it. Me, not a chance.
Yeah.
I like to travel for good food, right?
These guys will go to Queens, but they
But
they won't go to
the
the
arts
arts
district is
district.
totally off.
Easy.
Yeah.
6-hour flight, 3 trains to go to the arts district.
Yeah.
You're not happening.
Yeah, no.
I did do it recently,
I get
though.
that.
I did do it recently.
So after eating at a Camp 4 pop-up in Beverly Hills, I went home, and Dom said, and this is no offense to Camp 4 at all, because we had a great meal there, I think I'm going to go eat baked clams at LDV now, which is what he fucking did.
Yeah.
So that guy...
Left the peninsula.
Music to my ears, Dom. I appreciate
A
you.
man of good taste.
My 1,000%. Nothing against Camp 4 for sure. My go-to, literally, like it could be before a meal or after a meal. It's baked clams and a martini. That is like, and I crave it. Like I find myself craving it. It's so good.
And I'll say something. Like our
delicious.
baked clams, which I stand pretty strong on, we went through 14, 15 iterations. You can say how many different iterations of baked clams do you need, but it's the perfect breadcrumb texture.
Yeah,
you know,
we always
and
talk
We're
about how...
testaments to this. When these guys were opening, I can't tell you how many samples we gave them and how much money we lost. No, kidding aside, like they literally, and the menu, this is what I love. The menu is so simple, but it resonates, right? Like it resonates with home. Like I go home and I go to like the Italian restaurant down the block from me that's been there for 50
Staten Island
years.
here. I lived in Brooklyn for 15 years.
Yeah.
Let's just say it. Fucking Italian-American food in Los Angeles for the most part. I mean, historically, it's fucking been terrible.
It's been.
Yeah, listen, the simple things, they're simple dishes, but if they're not executed right, and that's why in the tasting process and the development process, like, you know, it was important for us to not have this giant menu with 75 different, you know, we're not Maggiano's, even though they're a perfectly respectable restaurant.
Of course. Thank you, man.
But, you know, do a few things and do them really, really right. So
Yeah.
it was
No,
like,
and that's what I like about you guys. You guys are, in a lot of ways, and I mean this as a compliment, you know, an upscale version of a down-the-middle Italian-American restaurant, and you're not trying to be a fucking steakhouse, really. You're not trying to be this restaurant that, like, serves a lot of vegetables like LA restaurants. You're not trying to, like, make pastas, you know, look green and yellow and the colors of Italy and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're a fucking red sauce restaurant.
Yeah, no, these are the restaurants we grew up going to. You talk about traveling to Queens, Staten Island. A lot of these restaurants closed post-COVID, right? There was a place deep in Brooklyn called Calandria's Corner, greatest name of all time. And that restaurant's gone now. So even when an opening LDV, couldn't go there for the research that I wanted with the team, right? There was plenty of places, though, deep in Brooklyn. Michael's in Brooklyn, Joseph Avenue.
Where'd you go when you were researching
I
LDV?
went everywhere. I went
Insane.
all
Yeah,
5
insane
boroughs
list.
and New Jersey.
Yeah.
You know,
gained
but
75 pounds in 2
Yeah,
days.
and because it's all nuance, and there's places that are literally Arthur Avenue, Sheepshead Bay, Bay Ridge, downtown Brooklyn, Williamsburg, all the fuck over
We even
Queens,
went out
right?
to Jersey.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, the best
Sick.
Italian restaurant in New York is in New Jersey right now. I don't know if you know this. There's a restaurant called Queen. Used to be in Brooklyn Heights. And all I really need to tell you about Queen is that they had 2 menus. One was like all these, you know, like new school, more refined Italian specialties. But if you went there and you just wanted fucking vongole with any pasta or fra diavolo with any pasta or carbonara, they would just make it for you.
Amazing.
Sausage wasn't officially on the menu. You could get a side of sausage with everything, right? And obviously I did. In this restaurant, I remember, you know, like all the judges and the clerks would go there, and we were regulars there. And the one time we had to wait was Christmas Eve. We showed up at 8:30, and they're like, oh, we're really sorry. Can you come back in a couple hours? You know, we'll comp your dinner. We'll do whatever you want. And we're like, why? Why can't we just have our table? And they're like, look, we didn't know that they're all going to come in, but you see all those people out there. Those are all the people those are the priests that are about to have midnight mass, and they decided to all come here. And I'm like, this is the most real fucking place I've ever been. And I'm being told this by somebody who's literally in his 80s, apologizing, apologizing to me about
those
the fact
are the
that
real celebrities.
Yeah.
Part the seas.
And that's the thing.
And that's what you've recreated because your place is small. Because it's small, it is exclusive. I know you're not trying to make it that way, but it's this thing where, you guys are just packed to the rafters in that little space, and people are eating food that's just red and messy, and I love that.
Yeah, it smells like garlic when you walk in, right? Which right away makes your shoulders are down. You're ready to ease a little bit more, right? It's loud. You hear that rumble. Med and I were just in New York, and we went into a restaurant. I don't know if you guys have been to Laveau Dior yet, but had a great experience there. But we walked in, you felt this rumble. You're like, this is New York City, 1978, right? You're like Upper East. You're eating. You walk down 3 steps. Like that's a certain thing that you can't recreate, right? There's either authenticity in it or there's not. And I think for us, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to make the wheel run as perfectly as possible, have a great restaurant with great food, good music, great energy. I don't know what else more you can do than that.
Tastes great, right?
Yeah.
Tastes great and expensive. I mean, we use really good quality ingredients,
I know this. And guys, not an ad at all, but I'm just going to say you guys buy the best of the best. Because I know, you guys buy like our Strato that you guys put on the focaccia bread. Like those are things that nobody, that's expensive. Like you guys buy the best of the best.
It's a luxury version.
It's a core menu. I'll say this though, it was interesting because when you guys were opening LDV, I was kind of going through the same thing, buying the cheese store.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you guys are buying this like historic brand. And did you guys plan on doing a red sauce thing and then LDV came up? Or were you guys like always going to do a red sauce?
We do things that we know, right?
Yeah.
And we knew we grew up around these restaurants and how it made us feel. So it was actually during COVID, Med was in New York. We were opening a project there and I happened to be at a red light right in front of where LDV was.
Crazy.
And that's how it happened. And the idea happened and it happened and moved kind of fast. But again, we wouldn't do anything that we don't feel we wouldn't want to be at every single night.
Right.
I want to be at that restaurant every night.
Yeah, me too.
And
except you have another restaurant.
That's
that you
true.
want to be
That's
at
true.
Often.
We have a few, and I want to be at each of them. I would never open something that doesn't feel a part of who I was in some way.
Right. Well, this is a perfect segue to talk about Genghis Cohen, which is one of the main reasons we're here because there's been a lot of news surrounding this restaurant. So, for people who don't know, but I think anybody listening to the podcast knows, it is this iconic, legendary, beloved, those are not overstatements, a New York style Chinese restaurant in the middle of LA. And again, that's another genre of food that for the most part just doesn't exist in LA properly beyond this place and then arguably maybe a couple other places, or depending on how you see it, just really beyond this place. Let's be real about it, right?
For sure.
And this is something that you guys did not create, obviously. It's something based on an idea that you grew up loving, and then you saw this, you bought it, and people thought, oh, these guys are going to make some scenester hipster place or some vibey place, or it's going to be some nightlifey place, or it's going to, be a cocktail bar or something. And you were like, no, we're not going to fucking change it. So tell us, one, why does this food resonate for you so much? And two, why did you decide, no, we want to run this restaurant?
I mean, very, very similarly to LDV, it has like a real emotional attachment. Growing up in New York City, Chinese food was like second nature to us. It was like one of those things where at the time, it was like an exotic experience. It's not only like a familial thing, but like I used to have to get dressed up with like a tie to go to the Chinese restaurant.
Right.
And every Sunday I would go with my family and it was like this
and
experience and the food was just so flavorful. And then knowing that at some point for, both my parents worked and, on the fly, we could always order Chinese food and get like lo mein and all these delicious dishes. That was like part of my growing up. It was part of our like lives. It was a constant. And when, we moved out here, to have that be a void was something that was like, well, where is it? Where do you get this where do I get an egg roll? Where do I get all these dishes that just made you feel comfortable?
Right. Even if you did find it, I remember there was no duck sauce.
No, dude, they never hit the level. There was always things missing.
Duck sauce.
To your point, they're like
duck
green.
Sauce.
We just
They're
had
like,
he was yelling at me the
you
other
get
day.
some like
they call
spinach
pump sauce
wrapped
out here.
dumplings.
Yeah,
I got them with a
pump sauce is
spinach
like
wrapped
duck
dumpling.
sauce. I called my mom up. I remember she's like, how's LA when I got in? This is, 24, 25 years ago. And I was like, it's great. no fucking duck sauce.
Yeah.
And my mom, God bless my mom, went to Chinatown in Manhattan and got me a box of, I think it was like 5,000 packets of duck sauce. And I lived in this apartment probably for 8 or 9 years. I mean, I lived on the couch, so did all my friends at some point. And when I moved out, I found this box deep in a cabinet
Oh my God.
with like 4,990 packets left.
Well,
but
no,
still,
they're exactly the same quality.
still good.
Outlast us all.
Still good.
Outlast us all.
So Genghis Cohen, I remember first driving by it one day and I was complaining to someone from LA, I can't get that style of Chinese. And this is obviously even before the San Gabriel Valley sort of became a thing, right? And you understood you can get authentic Hong Kong style food there, like really go deep. But just Chinese American food,
Yeah,
right?
the New York style China, because one thing that you're saying, because again, it's very interesting to a lot of people who aren't us, like why you were the guys who were the caretakers of Genghis Khan. But to me, it's a narrative, and it's a very LA narrative too, because you think about the things that are iconic in LA, like Porto's, for example, right? And I've told the story on the podcast before. If I haven't, I've told it on other things. There are prominent Filipino chefs who say that Porto's was their biggest influence because Porto showed up at every family party when they were children and they just thought it was fucking Filipino food. And they find out as a teenager it's Cuban food. When you're eating this Chinese food, yes, you think that it's something different and exotic, but it's the food of your childhood, just like red sauce is the food of your childhood. And now you do, get to create something that's a little more upscale, a little bit more vibey, that weaves in the other things that you know how to do. But at heart, you want to serve dumplings and noodles and egg rolls, right?
Absolutely.
And great drinks, right?
Yeah,
and I think what was cool about Genghis Cohen is also like how no frills it was as a restaurant. Like it just appealed to such a wide demographic where you have your like grandmas in there at 5 o'clock on the dot, like, gossiping, they come in walkers sometimes. It's like the cutest thing you've ever seen. And then families, like little kids throwing rice. And because of this like music element that it had and the pedigree with the music, like we would have, rockers and, musicians and all this kind of, this dynamic culture that just was brought people together in a weird way. And I think a lot of what Mark and I do is just trying to bring people together and have a special experience, whether it be in Beverly Hills, that's like a kind of a different thing, but it's that feeling. And feeling, that food it's so, you share that food. Mm-hmm. That's like the OG, go to a nice new American restaurant, but like, have you been here before? Just so you know, everything's meant to be shared. Like, Chinese food is the OG of that. It's I got 25 dishes. We're going to get the lazy Susan. We're going to
even if there's one guy at the table that wants the dish no one else wants, everyone else is going to try that dish when it lands.
You spin it around like that's kind of like that it just crosses boundaries. It breaks walls. It's like, your shoulders are down.
You're actually eating together in a way that you're not eating together at other restaurants.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, let's talk about the news and sort of, what the next couple months are going to look like for you, because Genghis Cohen is closing, but also Genghis Cohen is not really closing. So tell us what's going to happen.
So first of all, actually, why you guys, what's going on? Why?
Yeah, listen, there's new landlords purchased the building. Mm-hmm. We've been trying for the better part of 3 years to work out a new long-term.
Sure.
Haven't been able to do that. And, listen, I think we were being presented with an opportunity to probably pay money that the restaurant couldn't afford to pay, right? We were ready to pay more.
In a tough economic climate in the hardest city in America to run a restaurant, it's just unviable.
And we were still ready to pay more, right? We're lucky it is a successful restaurant for many reasons, especially a financial reason. Mm-hmm. But had we sort of taken on what was presented to us, we would be irresponsible, right? We're putting the restaurant in jeopardy of not being successful anymore. And by the way, you guys know how hard it is to run a restaurant, how hard it is to do what we do. To do that and maybe break even, it's just not worth it, right? And it takes away the love and the passion you have for it. So we came to the fact that, and I think we also realized that we weren't really wanted. I think we were presented with that offer because they didn't really want us there because they knew we would say no. Yeah, so we decided to save Genghis Cohen more or less by moving Genghis Cohen. So we're shutting down at 740 North Fairfax, which has been there for 42 and a half years. It's a long time. Something that we took that responsibility pretty seriously when we purchased that place. We've
How
had
many years have you had
We've
it?
had it for 10.
A decade.
10 years.
Wow.
It's
So
been a
we've had it
decade,
for
yeah.
a decade.
Yeah, and most
Yeah.
restaurants in LA don't even last 10 years. You know that.
Right.
Yeah.
And for our 10 years, there's been a lot of change, but yet no change as well, to what you were talking about
Yeah.
earlier, Andy, right? Like, we didn't change the dishes. Maybe secretly we bought organic produce without letting everyone know so they didn't freak out. But it just made us feel better,
Right,
right?
and you
And
hire
it's-
chefs to make things better, but in
Correct.
essence, it's the same. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we, Med and I are pretty resourceful. And when we realized, hey, this isn't going to work out, we were like, we got to move fast. So what do? We were lucky enough to find a space right down the street, 2 blocks south on Fairfax. So like right next to Prime Pizza and the Dime and Bad Mass and John and Vin's and Canner's across the street,
Yeah.
this legendary strip.
A lot of your people.
Yeah, a lot of friends. And we're going to move down there. Our last service is actually on May 31st. And the very next day, we're going to attempt to do delivery and takeout from the new place.
Yeah.
Dining room won't be open for a few weeks. We got to move the fish tank. We need a little time for that. But
Which is something that's actually consistent with what we did when we purchased the restaurant, right? We got in there, we met the Q's, which is the family that owned Genghis Cohen previously, and we spent probably 3 months with them just in there learning the operation. Our goal was to not have any lapse in service, because this is the kind of place that's like a LA institution.
Yeah.
And part of its
So that it'll
beauty,
just be on the app on one day, and then the next day it'll be on the app.
part of its beauty is being reliable,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
when
yeah,
you're
of
when
course,
you're
of
like
course.
in a neighborhood that there wasn't like, oh, let's close down for a month and renovate. Like, we just opened. We were closed for 1 lunch service, and then opened up to a full, to a full book of reservations.
I think like when Din Tai Fung closed. I mean, I got to go look this up, but it's like when Din Tai Fung moved from the Americana to the Glendale Gallery, they sent out some release that just basically said, we closed this day, and then now we're open
it's amazing.
in Glendale, because it's just like, you just fucking do it. I mean, it reminds me
I
of
love
like,
that.
it
It's
reminds me
hard,
of
man.
the,
What we're attempting to do is very, very difficult.
Of course,
and,
yeah.
and the time frame is just like, it's honestly psychotic.
This temporary location that you go, is it temporary, or you think you're going to make it a home?
It's temporary for now, right?
Yeah.
We're going to be in there for about 1.5 years.
Okay.
We're exploring opportunities. Andy brought it up, and Andy, I got to thank you, because when the news first dropped, we were on the phone with Andy, and he said to me, I know this sucks, but take a moment to appreciate the outpouring of love. Yeah. And that was on a Friday, and I did that weekend, and it was.
Well, it had just happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you're also a special kind of hospitality crazy, where it's like, you guys could have closed for 2 days to get your shit together. But I like this narrative and the belief that you can do it. And it reminds me of the first time I went to John and Vinny's. I think it might have even been I think it was opening day of John and Vinny's. I was writing for LA Magazine back in the day, so this was the original John and Vinny's. And so I get there at like 10 in the morning because I realize that if I get there at a certain time, I can order off the breakfast menu and the lunch menu on day one, and maybe they're not going to get too upset at me. I don't
You're
even
doing
think,
an internal bang bang?
I don't think they even think they
Same
know who I
place.
am.
It's pretty special.
Yeah. But what I remember is that it's their first lunch service. And actually, if I'm telling this story wrong, you can go Google LA Magazine, read the right version of this story. I'm too lazy to do it. In the middle of lunch service, they get a phone call, and it's like day one of this restaurant, and somebody says to John, hey, John, we're not doing takeout or delivery yet, are we? And John goes, how big is the order? And you hear him saying something, and then they tell John, and John says, yeah, we'll do it. And he just grabs the phone. And so like 3 hours in the existence, he's like, somebody wants to order a shit ton of pizza right now. I'm taking that money,
Amazing.
right?
Yeah. Amazing. That's what we do. That's what we're here for. Listen, you can't always say yes.
Right.
There's an impossible, but you got to go into it thinking, how can I say yes? Is there a way? Can we figure it out? By the way, we might call you guys in a month and be like, we fucked up. We couldn't do it. But that's our goal. We're going to do everything in our power to not just keep Genghis alive, but going consistently. Customers, Med talked about when he was a kid and his parents were at work and they relied on maybe Chinese food to feed them at night. Well, we have customers like that too. And we don't want to let them down. So the goal is keep going. And you're right, Dom, maybe it turns into permanent there. Maybe not. We're open to exploring what the next phase is. Has to be right.
Yeah.
One thing we aren't going to have for right now at this new temporary location is live music. And that's a big part of at least what the OG Genghis needs to be.
It's a whole thing.
It's a real thing. Like
Yeah.
we fell in love with the food and our nostalgia for the food and our connection to it, but you know, the music side of things, there's two different kind of Angelinos. People, and most of them know what Genghis Cohen is, but there's one whole segment that have been going there for years only for music. Right. Or their sister has played there, their cousin has played there. They're now a touring band that sells out stadiums, and they grew up seeing shows there and have never even eaten the food. For real. Like this is like a real thing. And then that blows my mind. So I'm like, well, come in for dinner. But that's been a very special thing. And talk about, you know, I guess changing times. And I want to be clear about a couple of things. Like, we're not afraid of change. Change is like normal, and it's hard. Yeah. This isn't one of these things where it's like, you know, I guess there's a lot of fucked up things that are happening to like old institutions and stuff, but I don't see us being like victims, right? It's like you gotta adapt. You gotta keep doing it. A big part of what we're doing here is adapting, and the responsibility that we took on by purchasing this restaurant and trying to make it successful, have made it successful. And now it's reaching a point where if we're not going to put it out of business by signing a stupid deal, we got to be nimble and try to figure it out. But I think my point is, you know, these places are so special, and this particular place is so dynamic that you have this like huge music element. So this new iteration doesn't have that, which is why we're treating it like a temporary spot because
you want to be that total package.
In this spot, so you're gonna obviously you guys are starting with delivery and stuff like that. Like, will you have seats inside at a certain point?
Yeah. The
too?
dining
Like,
room 3-4 weeks later, like as
got
fast as we can.
Yeah, it's fast.
No, and it's gonna be. Listen, I had dinner. I was at a big birthday dinner at Genghis the other night, and there was a girl in there whose kid goes to preschool. My kid, she was like, "This place is a vibe." She'd never been there. This next place is going to be a vibe. It's not going to feel like, oh, they phoned it in because it's temporary.
You guys create a vibe. That's why you're taking 3 or 4 weeks.
In some ways, we're like, fuck it, we're going to make it better.
Right.
Yeah, you know, like we're just going to make it better. Like, is the thing going to be better? Like, yeah, it's going to be sick.
Well, I read some comments right when we posted online. It's been great. No. It's been fantastic. To Andy's point, right? The outpouring of love and positivity, but it's also people like I hope they take the fish tank, like. You know, because people think that the fish tank was there before. Like, we put that there. There was no fish tank when we got. But we were like, why is there not a fish tank at Genghis Cohen?
Like, I hope there will be fried rice. The fuck are they talking about?
You know, the neon sign. Everyone's like, take that. We made that neon sign. It wasn't there before, right? Yeah. So, like, there was a light box and they had something of sort. We were like, no, we need neon. So, listen, everything that makes Genghis.
Yeah, and I mean, the art direction that you guys are known for at, you know, all of your venues.
Thank you.
Not just your restaurants and your bars. You go there. To use that word again, it just feels like a vibe. In some cases, it's a vibe where I can go here on Tuesday with my family, but it's still a vibe.
Yeah.
But let's talk
This will be fun.
Let's talk about the delivery part of it too, and sort of that relationship, because this is something that you really could expand. Because you're not just preserving this Chinese American experience; you're preserving the idea that even like if you're just somebody new to LA, right, and you're just fucking around on Postmates, you know, at 2:00, you're like, this place has a Chinese lunch special. Where the fuck else am I going to get that delivered to me besides Panda Express, basically, right?
Sure. Yeah. For sure.
So you could build a whole new audience just like branching out in terms of delivery. And I know you've talked about maybe wanting to do that. So what are some of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, listen, that's always been in the plans prior. And now that's the hard part. When you take something that's successful, now you got to move it where time, right? How do you time manage? But for sure, we want to hit the gas on that because arguably, listen, 2 of the greatest delivery containers of all time, the pizza box and the Chinese food pail, right?
Yeah,
and like the food just travels well. The food reheats really well. Whether it's you have a microwave or not, and my wife's not letting me have a microwave right now, which I'm pretty upset about. But whatever you have, that food, it eats great cold. Pizza and Chinese food, both. So Andy, you're right. I think like the fact when I moved to LA, there was no Postmates, Uber Eats, DoorDash didn't exist, right? I think there was a LA Bite was one, and you paid like $11, whatever it was.
Why Cook?
Why Cook was another
back
one.
in the day, remember that?
Yeah.
So I think the fact that it is easy to get food delivered here in Los Angeles, we have to embrace that, right? Because our food does travel well. You know, our food travels far too. We have some people that want to get it to Malawi sometimes. We usually put a
and
restriction.
it has value. And it has value,
No,
right? You don't get one meal out of it.
It has value,
Which was
exactly.
also part of our reason for keeping our delivery radius exactly the same. You know what I mean? We're moving up the block. Maybe our permanent space will also be in that kind of similar area. But, you know, it's funny talking about delivery. Sometimes you look at the map and you're just like drawing these circle radiuses, be like, okay, maybe that would be good or whatever. There's some math, but it's definitely
LA is so vast,
I
right?
think this whole
It's so hard.
I think
It's
this
so,
whole
there's so many
thing
pockets, so many different neighborhoods.
I think this whole thing more than anything has like invigorated us to like
For sure.
to like, you know, do more, apply more energy, expand more, do more delivery. Just like, you know, sometimes when you feel down, you feel like, oh, this is a shitty situation. Like, we don't want anybody to cry. It's not a funeral, but it's like rise up time, you know?
Yeah,
we
I
got
love
the
it.
Rocky music going on in the background. Like, how are we going to do this? We're going to make it better. We're going to make it sicker. It's going to be like more delicious.
Yeah.
Like expand the bar program, you know, do more events.
I mean, but we're in LA, so it's like you're the best when Karate Kid is playing. We got to keep the West Coast, right? And by the way,
crane technique.
with that, the other thing is like LA. And Andy, are you from LA originally?
No.
Okay.
I'm from so many places, but I feel like I'm from LA,
So-
but I'm not.
And none of us at the table are from LA, but I think you guys would
Yeah,
agree.
we're all technically from New York more than we are.
But you
from
would
LA.
agree
Yeah.
with us that LA's been so good to us.
Yeah.
And this is why, like,
why we
listen,
live here.
we
All of us.
have a lot of new places, right? That are new concepts, whatever. But if the reputation it becomes a little bit of like, oh, they reinvented Genghis or La Dolce Vita, like, that's okay because LA has so much cool history and so much cool iconic stories, iconic people, whatever that is. If we can be a little part of that and help the evolution of that, right? If you get stuck and there's no evolution, then people don't maybe want to go anymore, right? Maybe
Then you're out of business.
exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe the
Yeah.
food's not as good.
Yeah.
The place
Yeah.
doesn't. So evolution is really important.
Yeah,
but
you want to. Wolfgang talks about this all the time, right? You need to keep some things on, and then you need to keep changing, or you'll die.
yeah, you do. But the point is that these restaurants and Genghis Cohen specifically is such a part of the fabric of Los Angeles, in our opinion, and it's such a community
is, yeah.
space that we're hell bent on keeping that space for the community in whatever iteration that takes.
Yeah, some of it like more real, some of it more virtual. But I appreciate that you want to get that music element.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
Dom, we wanted to talk about your dream order at LDV, but based on what we're talking about,
I think I already said it.
No, but I want to.
Oh, veal palm is bang.
Yeah.
the veal.
All right, save
The
it for
veal
the
palm-
shrimp
sorry,
fra diavolo.
See, now I might have to swing by there after this.
Hey, you're welcome
Yeah.
always.
They're gonna open up 2 hours early just for us. So I want to play a game because I think based on what we're saying, you guys would be great to play this game with. So there's this place in New York called Zizi's Club. It's the private club for Major Food Group. There's something called the Founders Room. The Founders Room is ridiculous because I mean, besides the fact that obviously like it's super exclusive, you have to pay a lot of money. You know, it's like you can afford it, Dom. It's like it probably
Hey, that cheese is that cheese
less
business.
expensive than going to Borgo. I can help you with a membership, but you just have to.
He's already told us
No.
how much money LDV
No.
is spending here.
Yeah.
That's how he's paying for it.
Just on their
We
account.
almost paid back the sample budget.
So in the founders room, with enough notice, in some cases, studios they will make anything you want. Based on an idea of a recipe that you have.
I want a Big Mac.
so-
I get a Big Mac.
Yes. So I did a party there, and I made them.
Who's the big shot, dude?
Yeah.
You're doing a party. I don't even get an invite there.
Industry did an after party there one day, and it was like dinner for 10 people. And I'm like, I love Palace Station Oyster Bar. Can you make this pan roast? I like hang chicken rice. Can you try to recreate this crispy pork? And I'm like, well, that will be hard, but we'll try. And could you bring me this dish from Teresi? And then I don't want to insult you guys, but I want angel hair pasta and sausages that resemble this restaurant in Brooklyn, not one of your fucking restaurants. And then I had a friend, Shu Chowdhury, who you know, who's also
I know you.
who you know.
We credit him for actually making this podcast happen.
So then our friend Shu Chowdhury, who's on a group chat with us, because it all is part of one world, fucks with the menu and he adds a McDonald's filet of fish with caviar and a fucking cheesesteak that may or may not be inspired by Jerry Greenberg. Fucking, of course it was. And we have this ridiculous meal. Now, let's pretend that the cheese store of the Beverly Hills is the founder's room and you can get any LA meal you want. I want you guys to come up with like a 6-course meal, but with only
6 course. You put him on the spot. It has to be six courses. How about like one bite?
no, but one dish at Genghis Cohen,
Okay.
one dish at LDV, and then you build off of that. And
I'll
I'll
tell
help
you-
you once you.
I need help.
Well, fuck it. Maybe
I'm just kidding.
Maybe we'll all go through some, but they have to be LA dishes.
Yeah. So your cashew chicken at Genghis to me,
Yeah.
because I mean I love cashew chicken, right?
Yeah.
But it was like a different throw on it, but it had all the flavors that I remember. So the cashew chicken, obviously the
Great.
egg rolls, right? Like you can't.
That goes deep into the menu. I applaud you. This is like not an evident order. This is like
and that's what I remember.
this has
for a
like
while.
deep
Okay, so
emotional.
cashew
I like that.
chicken. Remember, this is 6 courses, beginning, end of the meal.
Great.
What do you
So
want to do?
I'll take the egg roll to start.
Okay, roll
I'll go with the cashew chicken because that's what I love.
Okay, so yeah, you're not playing the game right, but if you just want to do all their dishes,
I'm
let's do it.
playing it wrong. Oh, so I got to pick one.
Oh no, you know what? No, make a dream 6-course meal, just LDV and Genghis Cohen. I want to hear this.
No, I mean 6 courses. Because here's my problem because I very rarely venture off of the menu. I think I've had everything on your menu, but like I can make 6 courses just at LDV because obviously the veal parm. It's a must-have.
So
I mean,
good.
the thing's the size of a fucking pizza.
Well, if you eat
Yeah.
that, you
It's the size
can't
of
eat
pizza.
5 other courses.
It's the size of a pizza, and we were just there a few weeks ago with another couple who never been there before, and I was, I'm like, yeah, dude, like you guys like veal, like I gotta like whisper like,
You're almost afraid to ask.
yeah. I'm afraid, yeah. Like, dude, like I don't care, like I'll eat it, like whatever. So I'm like, yeah, like we're gonna get the veal parm, like it's a non-negotiable, we have to get it.
Yeah.
We started out with the baked clams, of course, which we said, veal parm, the monogut to me are spectacular, and by the way. Those serving trays for the monogut
Thank
are
you.
like
Thank you.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And then the guy I was with, my buddy was like, hey, what about like the pork chop? I'm like, who says no to a fucking pork chop? It's like
The
so like,
pepperoni on there is
God.
so good.
And we have to plug the bucatini because I love the bucatini too. Like that's just like a
the
go-to dish.
fucking
You know what the
spaghetti with
ladies love,
meatballs
though?
are
And the
That's your
meatballs,
thing.
and the
That's your
meatballs
thing.
are banging, dude.
You know what the thing about the Manigut, Vinny Dotolo came in there when we first opened up, and he said to me, something about like, this just reminds me of going to my aunt's house on Sundays, right? And that's the point of that dish. It's such a humble dish that we needed the most beautiful serving platter ever to make
Vegetarian.
it, to
Yeah.
elevate
One of
it,
the
but yet it's
best-
simplicity
one
inside
of the best, literally, like, I mean, it doesn't look any nicer at the table. It's one of the best presentations.
you.
And because you feel like, dude, like this is banging. And then when you eat it, but the thing is, it's like every time I go there, it's like, I wanna, it's so much. Even, I mean, the veal chops.
Well,
the sausage,
it does serve. It serves 6,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's
And
also one of those places where you got to come with like 4
you gotta
hungry
come,
dudes.
you come with 4 people because you also everything tastes and sounds so good that I mean I'm like a total glutton. Like I have to sit down. Like I don't care if I take one bite. I gotta
but
order it.
see, Genghis is the same way, right?
Yeah.
You don't want one dish.
Right.
You want to eat
No,
a little bit of this,
1000%.
a little bit of
Yeah.
that. Let's take, like I said, if someone orders something you never even thought about, you're tasting it. You're for sure sharing in that
I'm in
element.
it, man. I'm in it. So for me, yeah, like I said, what we would say, the veal parm, the pork chop, the bucatini, the baked clams, the cashew chicken, the egg rolls, the monogut.
Yeah, that's 7 courses just made.
I'm starving.
And he has
Guys in the food business, not
and here's
not
the-
an accountant.
And here's the
That ain't
wild
lunch.
thing, right? And I mean, maybe this just speaks to. You guys say that you have small menu. I mean, you have a small menu at LDV. You don't have a small menu at Genghis, but you nail a lot of things, right? Because for me, it's like, Dom, your order's fucking great, but how can you? If I was to do this dream menu, I think there'd be a middle course and it'd be spaghetti and meatballs and it'd be the shrimp fra diavolo, right?
Love
And
that
then probably for the main course, it would be no name duck, and then I'd get roast duck by power, and I'd put them next to each other, and it would just be this crazy duck feast.
Love
and
that.
fuck it, while we're at it, get Girong too, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So
He's totally flexing on me
so
right now. You notice that?
so duck
It's a total
on so
flex.
duck on duck on duck.
He had
but
a pre-prepared answer
Oh,
to this,
dude,
just for the
yeah,
record.
I
He
literally
knew the answers to the questions
Yeah, let
he
me
was
ask
gonna
this
ask.
question.
Well, I've noticed there's been no dessert. Are we cheese course only because we're here?
Well,
I mean,
here's what's
come
great.
here for
dessert.
Here's what's great. I prepare for everything in my life except for this podcast. I thought of this game fucking 8 minutes ago. Maybe I just.
I thought for sure Dom Salumi selection was
No,
going to
but-
be on this list.
Bro,
I
well,
mean,
I'm a little bit. It's actually bittersweet for me because I felt like we talked about a picture on the menu, not just my name. And there's no picture. I
No
thought we said
pic.
8x10.
no
I don't know.
pick.
I don't know.
well, careful.
Still-
People ask for plaques, and I said you got to die first. So it's like
I
So,
love it.
but what are? I mean, I guess What are the things that you eat again and again? Because the first time I met you, Mark, we were talking about the turkey minis, I think,
Yeah.
right? Do you still eat that all the time?
My kids eat it more than me now. I flip. It depends. I love right now the spicy salty tofu is like one of my
that's
go-tos.
so good.
That dish is just the tofu is so hot it's gonna burn your mouth like pizza would at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
It gives you all the elements. Jalapenos, like it's kind of a Los Angeles dish too by using that. Also the cilantro shrimp, which the off the menu is just switch to protein, cilantro chicken, another go-to of mine, right? Tons of fragrant cilantro, jalapenos, that's another go-to. I started doing this new thing. We have a pork lo mein, but instead I've been taking the roast pork, the sliced char siu, basically,
that's my
cutting it up
favorite.
and putting that in the lo mein. That might actually become a menu item. Right now, it's an off-the-menu item that they just make for me, but why not put it on? I think it's delicious.
Yeah, I have to go with like the pot stickers.
Yeah.
That are just so good. We make that dough. So a funny story, when we bought the restaurant, there was this old Hobart. And what was funny about this Hobart is that it was actually a 110 plug.
Mixer?
Yeah, big, giant mixer. But prior to being Genghis Cohen, the place was a pizza place. So before Alan Rindy bought the place, it was an old pizza place, and it came with the mixer. And that mixer is actually still being used by us. Cool. But we make our own dough for the dumplings. And this is like a very specific nuance between a lot of other places in LA and what we have here. Like our dough is a little bit thicker. It's not like that translucent, like super delicate, which is delicious. Don't get me wrong. I love this kind of dumpling. I like all kinds of dumplings. But ours is a little bit thicker and they're seared hard. So you get your crispy thing, but you get that chew.
I love that.
Like, it's terrible. I'll be going into Genghis sometimes for a meeting in the middle of the day, not hungry at all, not needing to eat. And I just smell like I have to sit down and have dumplings. I went like a year where I couldn't walk into the restaurant without having dumplings. I'm now like doing sit-ups and trying not to do that much. But have to start with the dumplings. Our vegetables are super banging. The Szechuan green beans are something that I can't not order. They're just like flavorful. None of our food is really that spicy. I love heat, but like the Szechuan green beans are like all time so good. And I always kind of revert back to like our queen chicken, which is like our General Tso's.
Yeah.
And it's got a little bit of heat.
Yeah, I'm all about that.
And like, I like to add broccoli to make myself feel better. But like, a queen chicken, it's just that sweet, savory, crispy, crunchy bite where you're just like, this is exactly what I need. Some of the sleepers that I'll go into every once in a while is like
cashew chicken, right?
Nah, I don't go there, but I appreciate that. I appreciate that pull.
My grandmother loved cashew chicken.
There's a spicy garlic lamb that is like, in my opinion, the sleeper on the whole menu. Really? It is so banging. The sauce is delicious. It's kind of like a mix between like a classic brown sauce, but it's brighter. It has like a little vinegar notes. It's just banging.
Again, I think we talked about it with LDV. Gang, it's the same thing. When you walk into these restaurants, there's a smell that just overtakes your brain, right? Yeah. And you're just like, you're not even thinking anymore, right? Like the old cartoons, right? You're floating in the air to the smell. And that's fun. When you go in a restaurant, there's some restaurants you're not smelling much, right? It's just things are going on. Yeah. Food could still be good. But those smells, that's like grandma's kitchen, right? Your mom's kitchen if she was a good cook. Like those are the things that I think these restaurants give you, right? That nostalgia, of course, but also like that comfort.
Smell. Yeah, that's exactly that comfort, right? Because I think the last time I went to Genghis, and I mean, this was not intentional, but it sort of speaks to what your restaurant is. As you know, I mean, well, actually, it's funny because it's down the street they're both down the street, but I was at a new Vibey-esque like supper club on Fairfax. We're not going to name which one. There's like
baller, another flex.
Live. No, we're just,
private members.
It's a members only.
He's got the platinum membership.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally, yeah.
So the one
Diamond
time
Club.
I don't remember a single thing that I ate there. It's just like, okay, it's got a good crowd, and when you eat a meal at a place like this afterwards, you're like, fuck, am I going to In-N-Out Burger or am I going to Taco Truck? But I'm on Fairfax. I'm like, no, fuck this. I just walked to Genghis Cohen and I ordered Westlake seafood soup and queen chicken and sat there by myself.
Yes.
Like some fucking weirdo.
But you
Not
can in that
weird.
You're not
Yeah.
weird in
Not
that
weird.
restaurant.
You're
Not
on
weird.
point.
And
You're
then-
a visionary.
Right. And then I ate the whole soup, and then I barely ate the chicken. They're like, do you want to pack it up? Do you not like it? I'm like, no, I just had dinner already. And the waiter just looked at me and said, oh, okay, cool. And just brought me the to-go container, and I was out. But that soup like saved my fucking life.
I love
then.
it, man. I love to hear that. And that's another thing at the new temporary spot. We're going to look to a couple of days a week be open to 2 a.m., do late night food because we feel like people want it, right? Like there's places you can go, right? You can go to Jones or you can go to even Canner's across the street, but we feel like that people have been craving our food later and later and texting us. So we're going to give it a run on the weekends and stay open.
And the
Dude.
dining counter is very
No,
special.
there's
Like
literally
at our
somebody that I'm going to text right now about that because he goes out all the time.
Love that.
And he's texted me just like, where the fuck do I go eat late at night in this neighborhood except to go to Pink's again? And I'm like, like, you can't go anywhere. You're gonna have to go to Koreatown.
And
It's
Pink's
like,
with the terrace. You might not be able to go to Pink soon either,
shit,
right?
yeah,
So
and eating at the bar is something special. Eating at the bar, like the counter,
I'm gonna
like
text
we
him right
have
now.
a
Let's see what he
6-stool
says.
counter right now. This new space, we got at least 12 stools. So it'll be like a kind of an interesting add-on for us to really pay attention to the bar, pay attention to different hours, still be able to eat at the bar, whether you're solo or with a friend, and have this like kind of more dynamic experience, at least for you know the counter seating. We'll of course still have tables for large parties, for groups and booths and all the things that make Genghis, but one thing that we're really excited about is like the longer bar, developing the drink menu a little bit more.
Similar amount of seats to the.
yeah, pretty close.
Similar.
Pretty
Yeah,
close.
yeah.
No, it's a space. It's a nice space.
That's
It just doesn't have the music element like I said. But there's definitely room to do some really fun things.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun,
It's a
and that's
great
what
space.
my daughter asked me the other day. She just it's kind of sad, right? Because the situation sucks, like Med said, but we're being as positive as we can about it, you know.
You guys are like,
And my daughter asked me, she's like, "Well, why do you have to move Genghis?" And I said, "Well, because we have to make it better."
yeah.
That was my answer. And like,
Well, that's
and
it.
That's
Yeah.
it, man.
And by
That's
the way,
it.
you guys are gangs.
I appreciate you, man.
Right? Like think about that. Like you guys are gangs. So
Yeah, man.
so no matter where you go, no matter it's like you move one spot to another spot. Like
Yeah, we hope
Yeah.
so. We
you
hope
know,
so.
but it
know.
is. You guys the vibe. You guys the food. You guys the brand. Like that's what it is.
Thank you.
Man. Thank you, Dom. We appreciate that. Sometimes we're like,
Yeah,
oh
who's giving
shit, this is crazy. You know, listen. People have their attachments. Even us, we have our attachments to things. We're like creatures of habit. We work all the fucking time. Like we do all these things that are familiar. So to move is definitely something that it hurts. Honestly, it hurts. Especially the business is doing really well. It's super sound. It's stable. All these things.
But look, people were scared when we first bought Genghis, to your point before,
They
right?
were
Like
terrified.
change. Oh my
They were
God.
terrified.
You don't think I had that reaction when the Fertitta bought Keen's? I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But then I was like, wait, maybe this will be great. Maybe someone will honor what it is, be able to keep that going for another 50 years. And
Guys, I know the feeling.
yeah, exactly,
Right?
Dom.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, look,
What'd you do? You fucking made it better.
I
You made it better.
I kept trying to interrupt, but I just decided I didn't want to do it because I'm like, wait a second. Norbert was the cheese store. Everybody
Yep.
said that guy was the
Yep.
cheese store, but it's like, things can evolve. This is still very much the cheese store. You've preserved it and you've made it better. And I never pay you fucking compliments. You
Yeah.
can
You
pres-
did.
You
Guys,
can,
cheers, Dom.
did,
man.
man.
You gotta put a little something.
you
Hey,
you
hold
can
on.
preserve things.
Slow, guys.
Hey,
This is
cheers.
great. This is great.
And listen, it's a testament to your hard work
And how much you love what you do.
and your taste.
Same thing.
and your taste,
same thing,
right?
right? Same thing. It's
You
all
do it.
parallel. It's all parallel. So like, and what I love is like this is an opportunity for you guys to reinvent and bring Genghis to that next level.
Yeah.
Which is special, man. Not everybody gets that opportunity.
No, you're right. You're right.
Right?
No.
It is a flip in your mind, right? Which
Yeah.
we've been trying to do. Like,
Sure.
okay, shitty situation. We're gonna not only make the best of it, we're gonna crush this.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
crush this, or we're
Absolutely.
gonna work our asses off to get there.
And you guys know how to reinvent the brand.
Yeah,
It's right down
Like
the
I
block.
said, there's been
Right?
like a
Yeah.
reinvigoration
Sure.
and being like, okay, really, we have this opportunity now to do so many things. We're going to focus on, not having a lapse first, which is like a mad dash. Keeping the consistency of the brand alive, and then fucking adding fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
Adding fuel
I
to
love
the
it.
fire,
love
making
it.
making it as good as we can.
I love it. It's gonna be fun.
All right, Dom. So they're not really going to open LDV 2 hours early for you. So
Dude, I slip in the back door. I'm
What are we gonna-
dialed in.
Yeah.
I'm totally dialed in.
Actually,
I don't
I'm
need-
delivering the cheese. What do you
actually,
got over there?
They may
Real
actually
fun?
bring me the clams before this podcast
actually,
ends.
if we order the next 35 minutes, you can still get a lunch special.
Lunch special like
on
that.
Genghis
Dude,
Cohen.
we should have had the whole table break. Oh,
no.
we should have did that.
So-
Rookie move.
You guys have basically a month and change in this space. Are you just going to keep it running as usual, or are there going to be some special goodbye nights? What are your plans for the last
And hold on,
month?
and will I be invited?
You're invited
Yes.
daily, every single day. So
You
is
see that,
everyone.
man? These guys-
Yeah,
these
we're
guys
gonna
take care
we're
of
gonna do
us.
both, right?
I invited him to the FGV recently. He went. It was fucking amazing.
Oh, wow.
No way. Ah.
Yeah.
2 flights on Southwest.
yeah.
But we had dinner deep in the valley with
We
a
did
bunch of
all
friends.
that,
Where were
yeah.
you that night, actually?
Oh, when you were at Baroni's?
Baroni's,
I was
yeah.
down the street. I wasn't fucking invited. See, Don?
Dude,
this
he
is-
was invited. I said, dude, don't invite that guy.
No.
We want to have fun tonight.
No, but we're gonna listen. We're
Yeah,
gonna
we're gonna-
business as usual, but also with some extras, right?
Yeah.
We
Right.
have some extra people are calling us up, want to do some performances,
Oh,
unannounced performances in the music
cool.
room. We're gonna have a
Sick.
couple bigger parties. Everyone wants to have a birthday before it goes
Sure.
away. Med's birthday is gonna be like the night before we close.
Burn
Is
down.
Med's birthday.
Burn down.
I don't know if we're gonna
Dude.
make it to the next day, which we have to like pack up the fish tank and move. But Med's birthday, so yeah, listen, we're gonna have a good time, but it is still business as usual.
Yeah.
And you can still order your food at home. You can still come in and have a meal around the Lazy Susan. Like we're there. It's Genghis Cohen,
Oh, dude, we
open
gotta-
as
we gotta do
always.
it.
So
gonna do
till
night
May
guy.
31st. Till May
Yeah,
31st.
And,
And then
your
we'll be
places,
wearing
yeah, you make places that are naturally celebratory, so you don't have to do extra, but
Yeah.
just to have a little bit extra.
So, I mean, would you recommend, like, can we make, like, should we make a reservation now that
Res,
everyone's like,
walk in and wait 20
absolutely.
minutes, have at the bar, have a
Really?
Szechuan marg, whatever. Like it's
Yeah, I mean, I'm craving that now.
Love
Hey,
this.
Dom, do you
Cashew
remember, do you
chicks
remember
for
where I
Dom,
went for my
cashew
birthday
chicks.
dinner? Where I went on my actual birthday
where?
that you didn't get invited to?
So we got ZZ Club, members only.
Yeah, down the street from here. You gave me so much shit about
Where'd you go?
this. I went to LDV on my actual birthday.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that.
Yeah,
We didn't know that?
And then Dom texted. I mean, I think I booked it on Dorsey. There's some fucking app that you guys use that like where
Jeez,
you can pay a super premium
don't
so you don't
call
have
it.
to talk to people.
you just gotta talk to us, Andy.
I mean, there's like a through line with the private membership club.
There's literally no fucking through
He's
line.
the bougie bastard, not me.
You've been like hanging out in
He's
Vegas
bougie.
too
Yeah,
much.
he's
Been
bougie.
in Vegas.
suggested-
I don't talk
I'm
to
a
people
simple, short
anymore.
Italian guy just trying to sling cheese. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't
Wait.
talk to people. I just slip through the back doors.
Yeah.
I tell the chef what I'm gonna eat. I tell him
Yeah.
the menu.
So what's this place, Borgo? You keep going back to?
Oh,
It's like the most luxurious hotel in the world.
All right,
I told this story. So yesterday, I just love that our podcasts are so meta. So yesterday, Avish from Pija Palace was here, and we were having a conversation, and Avish had this crazy realization, and I give Avish such credit for this because I hadn't even thought about it. Avish looks at Dom and says, wait, you've never actually gone and had dinner at an Indian restaurant, have you? And Dom had to say, no, I haven't. So the story that I told Avish about Dom is that last year when we filmed the podcast, he's in Cabo, and he says, while we're recording live on the podcast, knowing that half of this podcast is him saying things because he wants me to give him shit, at least subconsciously, he says, I'm in Cabo, I like to go like eat where the people are, I want to try the local cuisine. And he says this after he told me that the 2 places he went to were Mozza and a fucking Ludo restaurant.
Amazing.
So the fact that you have an opportunity to give me
He's a man of the people. He's a man of the people.
Hey.
Give me,
literally speaking Spanish.
I'm Love it.
Mexican by the time I'm
yeah, give me as much shit as you want. Yes. I don't like to text these motherfuckers, so I just use Dorcia and I pay 300% premium. Actually, it's not that, right? It's $20 more or some
No,
shit.
no.
No. And we have friends who benefit from that.
For sure,
And in
for sure.
reality, I think
We did.
I did something and Dorcia sent me some credit. So I could have probably paid for your meal with Dorcia credit, but you just weren't invited, so I'm
wasn't
sorry.
invited.
But we would have liked to know because we like to take care of our
Yeah,
folks.
no, but
you know.
but I've
course.
sent people in before, and you've always taken care of them. You guys are just great at
Oh,
hospitality.
the hospitality is amazing.
Hey, cheers,
Salute,
guys.
Salute, guys.
Thanks for having us on.
Thanks for coming on.
Well, no, I mean you guys have a crazy month coming up, but yeah, we'll come visit you.
No, we
Before
need to
you
make. I'm
leave-
gonna make a point.
Let's
We're
put
gonna
a
make
big
point.
Come
table
over.
together. Let's
We
put a-
need some painters. You guys want to come and roll some paint?
Yeah,
maybe
we wouldn't be the first fucking room I painted, bro. I'll be
install
honest.
some mirrors.
Yeah, I
you
got
know?
you.
Yeah, we always talk shit like this on the podcast, but for real, as soon as it's over, like let's get let's
Put it on the books.
Let's get you and Jay to commit to date, put it on the books, and then I'll go with you, and then
we'll bring a bunch of people.
and we'll do it, and then just
Should I bring my guitar?
book a table for 12.
Dude.
You could
Well,
blow
you know,
blow the
Andy,
dust
last time
off
we were
of
at
it.
Genghis together.
You can audition. Send us your demo.
Last time Andy had dinner with us at Genghis was a cool night because, you know, Don Julio 1942
Yeah.
made this really cool Lunar New Year bottle. And originally they had talked to us about we're going to do a big party and celebrate. And at that time in LA, this was, you know, just a few weeks post fires. It didn't feel like a great time to celebrate necessarily.
Sure.
But we did find a way to celebrate some great people. And we put a dinner together for a bunch of people who had been, including Andy, who had been using their own resources, their own time to get people fed, right? Firehouses, firefighters, displaced people. And we did a dinner where we fed the people who've been feeding the people. You know, other chefs, other restaurateurs who have been doing the same thing. We just thought it was a great excuse to get people together.
Yeah,
and
it was
And a
amazing
huge
industry,
shout out
yeah.
to Don Julio for actually like supporting this because it
It's
wasn't
incredible.
the biggest thing, but these were all restaurants and
We didn't hire a
chefs
photographer. It was just us.
and people
Nice, love
that really for the last, and a lot of them are continuing to do it, including us, but the amount of meals that were served by this kind of 40-person group was astounding
No, I mean,
and completely
thousands.
selfish.
I mean, I think actually upwards of 10,000 meals because I remember the things that you and some of the other people were doing at Will Rogers Base Camp, and it was this great thing just to sit at the table, you know, and actually have everybody take a moment because Tacos 1986 was there, Uncle Polly's was there,
Little Fish was there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of your other friends were there, and it was just this moment where. Yeah, we don't really get the moments to do stuff like that very often. So yeah, no, for real.
Listen, being in this business sometimes is thankless, right?
Yeah.
People are like,
you and Jay,
everybody's like,
The feed the streets folks. Like, there was some amazing
You only
people.
know when something goes wrong.
you know when something goes wrong, somebody
get your
didn't
dates
like
together,
the dish or whatever,
and we'll go.
So it was cool to just say thank you to
awesome.
you know,
And chefs want to roll together like this. When we did the SGV thing, it was mainly to reunite with one person, but also to see if Dom and Jay would go to the SGV. I texted like 9 people, and then 4
3
days,
tanks of gas.
and then 5 days later, on Tuesday at noon, we had chefs drive from all over LA, including the South Bay, like farther than you. Just like, fuck it, let's go eat lobster at Henry's Cuisine. So yeah, we'll do this again, guys, for sure.
I got to get to Henry's. That's been high on the list.
Yeah.
No, it's been high on
week.
the list.
Yeah.
Was it last week?
Yeah,
last week.
that's where we're
how
at.
was it?
It was amazing.
I can't wait.
It was insane.
I gotta check it out.
It was that.
You got to send the helicopter. Maybe you can send the helicopter.
Yeah, no, like I said, we had somebody drive from deep in the fucking South Bay. Like, we have
I drove from bumfuck Beverly Hills down there.
Dude, we have another restaurant that I want to go to. The new Szechuan Impression. They're sort of running a test kitchen. It's in City of Industry. Mentally, you would be better off driving to Vegas because you're going to be driving like deep in the SUV and look at your shit and be like, I'm still 40 minutes away. And you're like, fuck it, I'm driving past all this thing because in 2.5 hours I'm in fucking Vegas now. But that restaurant,
Keep it going.
But that restaurant and that chef, the fact that there's like a Szechuan Impression where they're just going to experiment with other shit, that to me
that's pretty cool.
is potentially the most exciting new
So
restaurant.
he's
in LA.
taking his menu and throwing it out the door and just.
So what happened is one of the owners of Szechuan Impression, one of the chefs, Lynn, who's just this genius chef, opened up a restaurant called 19 Town. That was like a new school Chinese restaurant. And it was a Chinese restaurant the way that it was a Chinese restaurant that to me felt like this was a Chinese person if a Chinese person decided to open up Animal or Tar and Roses or MB Post, right? Just a bunch of shit that's loosely Chinese that I want to cook. Last couple of years, shit's been tough, so that restaurant closed. Szechuan Impression completely crushes, so she's just like, I'm going to open another Szechuan Impression in the SGV. And of course, it's going to fucking crush and people are going to immediately come. But it's this very designy restaurant, right? It looks like something that like if you had told somebody that like this person apprenticed with Richard Meyer and designed this restaurant, you would be like, I get it. Or this looks like a boutique in Nolita or something, right?
Right.
So they're gonna cook all that Szechuan food, and she's like, no, but then everything else that I'm gonna R&D, like this is the test kitchen for it. I'm just gonna serve
Amazing.
it. So,
Experiment. That's
Yeah.
great.
That's cool. Sign me up.
yeah, but that's LA right there.
Send the
Let's
heli.
get back to the date we need to put in May.
Okay.
to celebrate, and can't wait to go to your birthday too, man.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you're invited?
Yeah, I'm gonna sneak in.
You're invited.
I'm gonna sneak in, bro. I'm sneaking in.
Notice that you didn't say that when I brought it up. He
was
like,
like,
change the subject.
What did you- I saw the kick under the table.
You're on
too,
the
by way.
list.
Yeah. No, but,
Bro,
but,
totally
but
not
you
invited.
and have a little homework. You and Jay get a date.
Okay.
Start a group text. We'll
big-
invite
big
everybody
banging
who's just
table.
on the podcast and let's just go.
Can't wait.
We'll
do
do
it.
it. We'll do
Yeah.
it, man. Well, I mean, we done? We good? Like, I feel like this is
I
like.
feel good.
I'm gonna say it right now. Thank you very much, guys. I'm
No, thank
obviously
you.
Thank you.
Huge fan of you guys. I love everything that you guys do. You guys put your own personal touch on things. So proud of you guys and so grateful to actually have you guys, not only in the neighborhood here, but actually to bring the next iteration of Genghis and stuff like that. Like, you guys are crushing it. And also, too, thank you for your help in Nashville. These guys helped us in fucking Nashville, too. We had a restaurant in Nashville, and Marc and Med kind of like came around, like give us their resources and stuff like that. So these guys just all around great guys.
And
Go
that's what-
support them because they're fucking amazing.
And that's what hospitality is.
Thank you, Dom.
Absolutely.
And look, and I'll keep this part of it short, but just thanks for keeping a couple, of the vital parts that we all remember and love about New York City alive. I mean, that's important. That's why you live in American cities, right? Given everything that's going on right now, there's so many of our people that are like, fuck it, we should just move here, we should just move here, we should just move here. And they don't move there because they would be bored and there's no culture. And a big part of the culture is the fact that there are quote unquote institutions that just remind you of the things that you grew up with and you can just go eat there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Well, thank you both for having us. I mean, it's important for us to tell this story right now, and no better time to do that with friends and people that I know support us. So thank you, because as Med said, like, you going through all of it, there's a little bit of like, oh my God, there's insecurities and whatever,
of course.
but we're ready to face them head on.
fucking
And
go.
like I said, we're very thankful to LA as a community, and thankful to our friends and our customers, and ready to find more.
All right, cool.
man.
26
Thank you,
minutes.
Andy.
Do you want queen chicken on Postmates or not? I order on my phone right now. All right, thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
cashew
We'll go to the
chicken.
restaurant.
You guys are the best.
Cashew chicken. I'm not going to forget it, by the way.
Salute, boys.
That was awesome.